For the Defeature demo, there's only a couple of things to keep an eye on. One of them is a bug that I've reported already, which is the gear ratio is not being mapped across from the original model. The ratio should be 60 to 1, so that 60 rotations of the input shaft gives you 1 rotation on the output shaft, since it's a reduction gearbox. But it appears to be using the geometry to calculate the gear ratio when it creates a simplified model. The only other thing to keep an eye on is when you're setting up the Defeature with the assembly-based motion, is when you create the first group, you need to make sure you're using the parts that are going to be stationary. So in this instance, the casing, and again you just got to double click to add these items to the selections. Because what happens is with the first group it gets fixed in the simplified model, so that's why we do that. And the other thing is with the face selection, if you don't want this area filled in because it looks a bit funny with the spline shafts just sticking out of it, just use the right click, select tangency to pick that face. Now to keep the time down, I actually go through and pre-select these mounting holes, but alternatively you could go through and deliberately forget to select them, and then you've created the simplified model, go back and add them to show the parametrics of the Defeature entity. But for speed, I don't do it for the demo, but it is an optional thought if you want to go through and show that. Other than that, the demo is pretty straightforward and you shouldn't have too much trouble doing it.